Hello, everybody. It's time to tap some shoulders and what have you. Give some kudos where it's due. I am Jack, joined by Ben, one of our risk managers. Ben, how's the day treating you?
It's going well. Happy to be here. Happy to be back. I took a little vacation end of last week, beginning of this week. I was in New Mexico. It was very nice, a lot cooler in Taos than it is in Dallas, Texas. So some reprieve from the dog days of summer. Feeling refreshed and yeah, back to it. Ready to do some shoulder tapping.
Indeed. So, hoops on my background. This is the golf course they're playing today. I have my St. Andrews shirt on. I don't care if it looks weird with the pattern on TV. I know it's not at St. Andrews, but close enough. I don't have the other shirt. For those who are asking about Top Quiz, it'll be back. Basically, we're giving our support team, we want to get the support times down to where they need to be. And we were getting a lot of tickets, thousands about promo codes and things like that. So we're just taking a pause. And when we get that set, we'll get Top Quiz back. It'll be fun. I got all sorts of questions ready to go. But for now, have questions for Ben, i.e., so how are traders doing today?
Yeah, traders are doing pretty well today. Lots of big green numbers on the board. We've seen more of that lately. I'm not sure if that's directly related to some of the trends. We talked about one of our live traders and also copy trading across XFAs, putting up somewhere in the neighborhood of $160,000 total across those accounts. So that's a big range day in the Nasdaq, and they got short early and just wrote it out. So lots of range as well today from what it looks like, and got some people on the right side of it. I saw the uh, house account also up 80, almost $8,900, which is really cool. That account's been trading a lot better lately, so kudos to the TV crew trading that account. Deanna's up a nice 250 bucks today. MP recovered some of the losses from earlier, sitting only down about 1,300 at the moment. Good on you, MP. Nick for a tick up 3,300. Tanya trades made a cool 1,350 in the live account. That was earlier. Looks like she hasn't traded since. A couple of people taking U-turns. They were up green this morning, hit DLLs, but Joanne, I want to give Joanne a shout out as well. Trading in a TopstepX live account, up 10 grand today. She has put up, although she's had a couple of daily loss limits, she's put up some really big numbers the last couple of days. So Joanne, if you're listening, make sure you lock that in. If you're not qualified for a payout yet, get yourself there and take a nice bite of that home. Big, about 26 grand, I think, over the last 2 days that she's
Yeah,
posted.
we
So
profiled Joanne either yesterday or the day before, and I'm glad that she was able to turn it around. Now, just keep an eye on how much you're risking of the wad. Hogue is watching. All right.
Oga's watching. Yeah.
Hogue is
Two more
always
real quick.
watching.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Just two more quick shout outs. Got a lot of good things going on. Brian P also up 6 grand in his live account, and then Raphael S making a resurgence with 10 grand. I think he's still in an active position. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Of course, there's always red mixed in with the green, but overall, pretty good performance out of our live traders today. Um,
Great
yeah, if you're
stuff.
ready, Jack, we can move into our first trading card.
Let's dive into the
Always
cards.
watching.
Oh, shit. It's Hogue. He's even in the
Sounds like God
background.
coming out of the clouds.
All right. Who we got up first here, Ben?
So first, we've got Garrett C, one of our live traders, who you'll be able to tell from the card. Actually, just today, Garrett is one of those red traders. He lost his live account, the 150K live account that he's been trading in today. So a little bit of background. Garrett's someone that I've communicated with before on the phone. He's been in good communication with the risk team, traded very well in the XFA, and has at times traded very well in the live account. But as you'll see when we go through the trading cards, there was just kind of a negative drift overall on the performance, and ultimately that brought it down below the threshold to be offboarded. So
Mm.
Garrett's trading with us from Naples, Florida, trading the NASDAQ and the micro NASDAQ. Um, Average daily P&L is negative almost $1,000, and so that's reflective of some of these behaviors that we're digging into now. 31% winning day percentage isn't terrible. 52% winning trades is good, but we don't have a positive reward to risk ratio. So 0.7 to 1 You're not making one for every one that you're risking. If you're not well above that 50% mark, eventually that's going to bleed you out because of losing streaks and commissions overall trading on that kind of volume. Garrett was also taking on average 16 trades a day. Now that's a little bit skewed. Um, and comes to what was ultimately, I think, the demise of the account being over trading. This is a pretty textbook case of over trading, in my opinion. Jack, if you're looking at that trade report, you should be able to see the days where the over trading occurred.
Hmm.
The two highest volume days out of the 14 trading days that we saw from Garrett were big green days that turned into red days, either taking the daily loss limit or ending up down on the day. So, that looks to me. There's a couple of other days, actually. For example, one day up 6 grand, only taking home 1,200. You know, it looks like greed is overriding some of the trading decision making. Because again, to get into a live account in the first place, you have to be trading well in your XFA. I recall reviewing Garrett's trading a number of times, both in XFA and in live. And all it takes is, letting greed or fear to kind of override those trading decisions, your trading plan and your strategies enough times to, take you out of the game. So it's unfortunate to see, Garrett have that type of occurrence over time. But I think if we do, a real autopsy on the live account, look at the trade reports, dissect what happened on particular days. If you were maybe away from your computer, trading from your phone, or just got some news that you have to make some additional money now all of a sudden, whatever it may be that occurred that leads to those types of performances where you're up significantly and then down. You got to do an autopsy on that, figure out what happened, and then once you've gained that knowledge, then you can forgive yourself first and foremost. You've got to forgive yourself before you can get back into the markets and really perform. I firmly believe that. But just reset and ultimately go forward as a wiser and more experienced trader. I think there's a lot of positives that can be taken out of this. I wish that Garrett had been able to take a payout out of the live account as well over that period of time. He did in the XFA. So, you know, it's part of the game. Trading is very difficult. Garrett took some money out of the XFA, was in a position, I think, to take money out of the live account as well. Just, a couple bad days really weren't able to overcome what has been a kind of a negative drift on the account over a period of time. So
Yeah.
that's the takeaway, I think, from what I saw. Jack, what do you think about this trading card?
I see a lot of kind of what we see over and over again, and maybe it's just because these cards are brought for shoulder taps, is um, really taking that loss limit, no matter what the size of the account is, and saying, okay, I'm going to lose this or I'm going to make a lot of money. Somebody, I'm curious in chat, sometimes a comment sort of like piques your interest because you don't exactly know what they're talking about. So it said he's trying to hedge NQ with MNQ. I don't I don't know what that means. But in chat, let me know if that is what I see here is what happened was in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of the account is so he would have been down around 12,000. He would have had $12,000 in the account at that point, and then proceeded to lose 3,000, lose 3,000, make 1,500, lose 3,000, lose 3,000. Those are huge percentages of your count each time, and I don't believe I see any payouts here. Where I was coded with this is that it's easy to forget, especially when you're down, when something is real money. And I did this too when I was trading for a firm. Is that if you're down $15,000, that $5,000 from 15 to 20 going down goes down easy, right? You never do the same thing if you're going from 0 to 5. And because it's on a screen or a computer, like it doesn't feel like you just gave over $150 bills. Okay. All this to say is if you have, as he did, 6K left in an account, take the payout rather than risk $3,000 to do something the next 2 days. Um, just take that money, right? I mean, there's no reason to risk half your account and then 100% of your account and miss out on 6 grand because of that. And also, once again, this isn't good advice, but like, if you are gonna gamble it, just pick one position and go with it. Gambling when you have like 44 trades or something like that, you're making the odds worse than gambling at that point if you're trading that way, right? At least if
Yeah,
you have
that's
something
always tough to see.
resembling, yeah. I
It's
mean, if you have
always tough to see when you could get 48% odds on the roulette table in the casino, but having a 30% winning trade day is less than even that. So I hear you on that, Jack. You also make a really good point about um, taking the money when it's there. That's something that the risk team has been focused on. Almost stumbled into as a point of focus over the last week or two. It's just, I think, sets of circumstances have lined up where we've had conversations with live traders who, maybe weren't seeing markets particularly well or were on a long losing streak, feeling demoralized. And rather than, okay, the account balance high was 25,000. Now we're sitting at 8,000 account balance. Rather than, decide, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this to get myself out of it, taking the payout, taking the money and closing the account out. Taking an $8,000 payout, taking the month off, taking even if it's just a week, taking some time away, and having closure and peace with that decision to then return. You can always come back. It's not an obligation to go in and trade every day or trade to make back the losses that you had. Taking the money when it's available to you is I can't stress the importance of that enough. I know
Mhm.
Dakota's done a very good job. He ended up losing his live account, but while he had it, he was taking massive payouts out of that account, which is great because then he can look back and say, well, yeah, I had a losing streak where I ended up losing 30 grand or whatever it may have been, but I took $100,000, in payouts plus out of that account over a period of time, and you can always hang your hat on that, right? The money can't come out of your bank account unless you spend it. It can come out of your trading account, like Jack's saying, in a flash because you don't value it or it looks like a video game
Yeah,
or whatever the case may be. So always pay yourself any opportunity you can, in my opinion. So just a PSA there. It's a really good point, Jack.
great stuff. Well, Garrett, it's very nice in Naples, so you're gonna be all right.
Right.
Who do we got next?
Let's move on. Next up, we've got Mako F, a name I hadn't seen before. One of our XFA traders, relatively new to TopStep, trading with us since January of 2024 out of Humble, Texas. Love our Texas traders. Trading the NASDAQ in queue, with an average daily P&L of $838. The winning day percentage, the winning trade percentage are good. We're above 50%, even if it's narrowly. But that reward to risk ratio, making 2.5 for every one you're risking, if you can do that over a 50% win rate or thereabout, we've talked about that before, Jack. The volume of trades here is a little bit light. We've got a decent number of trading days, 18 trading days, but a lot of those days, Mako's making one trade, it's a winner, and we're moving on, which is a behavior that I love, and I want to stress that. But it can skew a little bit that win rate to reward risk ratio. So just keep that in mind. 2.5 to 1 with a 50% win rate is very difficult to maintain over
Hmm.
an extended period of time. That will reach an equilibrium point over time, but really impressive trading in the meantime. Making $1,800 per trade, per winning trade, and only losing 730 is awesome. So selectivity and only taking one trade a day, many of those days is really fantastic. Mako's taken $3,000 in payouts so far from the XFA. Also, really enjoy that. We just talked about paying yourself, and there'll be a just over $12,000 balance that'll get transferred into the live account. So I don't have much in the way of things to improve on or things to advise. I would say stay grounded and poised when you get into live. We've talked about that over and over again on this segment. For whatever reason, sometimes the transition to live can, throw people's mojo off a little bit, or they make more out of it than what it is. Just stay calm and stick to what's working for you. Going in, doing your analysis, putting on one trade a day or two trades a day, letting that work out, let the cards fall where they may, and move on to the next day. Really
Yeah.
excited to see what Mako is capable of doing in the live account. And yeah, I didn't see much, really anything negative to take away from this. Even the hold times look great, winners to losers. So, what do you think about this, Jack?
There's there's not much negative here. This is really I, I think you can often tell the discipline in people because just looking at the trade reports, you get an idea of like what their strategy is. On the pretty sizable majority of the days here, Mako is taking one trade, three lots in the Nasdaq. And with that, one trade on most of these days, sometimes two, sometimes three, something like that. Okay. Um, he is tightening whatever his loss limit is, taking one trade. It seems that his loss limit is around $1,000, maybe. Because I don't see any. This is a 150K account, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, the most, a couple losers, 942, 957, still one trade. Then the winners on the other side with those same days with one trade. We got a 3,000, 1,000, 2,800. I think that he's picking one spot, three NASDAQ contracts, having his risk set at like 2 to 3 to 1. And then if it doesn't work, he's out the one. And if it works, he's up to three. Is this Hogue? Is Hogue
You know,
Mako?
it's almost like there's a trading plan in place, Jack. Yeah, it's very consistent behavior, and like you're saying, picking a spot, putting the trade on, and letting it work out. They haven't hit the daily loss limit. The worst day they've had is down $1,800. The loss limit being 3,000, and average losing day being, or yeah, average losing day being just over $1,000. If you can maintain that discipline and really make peace with your losers, that's something that I struggled with immensely when I was trading full time. Is I don't like losing, and trying to make peace with losers, recognizing that fact is something a lot of traders struggle with. So, seeing someone that can take the loss, put on the trade, it didn't work out, keep moving, that shows confidence, that shows really good discipline. Can't say enough about Mako really, and looking forward to having them perform in a live account. See what we do. We'll definitely keep an eye on this trader going forward.
Sounds good. Great stuff. Looking forward to see what Mako can do. I think we got one more trader in the works. Who do we got?
We do. I put three together for today. Let's get our last card up. It's Jerome, also a Texas trader with us from Waco, Texas. That's God's country out there. You go to church and you play football in Waco, Texas. And trade apparently. I think we've got a
Baylor.
couple of traders from Waco that I've seen. So there's something in the water out there. Jerome is trading S&P, Nasdaq, E-minis, and then the micro versions of those products as well. So saw a couple of really interesting things here. Average daily P&L of $460. Winning day percentage and winning trade percentage are both kind of right at the same mark, 66%. We've got just a hair north of a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio. 9 trades per day, little bit on the high side, but when you're showing that kind of percentage performance, we can accept that. We can live with that. Taking a payout on the account, that's great. But some of the more macro level trading behaviors are really interesting when I was picking apart this trade report. There was a streak of two, back to back daily loss limits in this account. And the immediate 2 days after that 2 day streak, Jerome was trading the micros, so switched over to micros. I believe they still traded one mini, the mini Nasdaq on one of those days, but really shifted to trading micros. That tells me you're reducing your size, right? You're
Hmm.
reducing your amount of risk. You're on a losing streak. You want to get out of that losing streak, and you're doing something structurally in your trading that is going to help you do so without risking too much. So really liked seeing that behavior. One other thing I also liked is Didn't trade for almost the entire second half of June. I think only one day was traded in the last 2 weeks of June. So that's fantastic for a variety of reasons. It could have been as something as simple as they were on vacation, but far too often, far too often, I'm going through these trade reports, reviewing our traders, and seeing trading every single day, every single opportunity to trade. There's trading going on. I know that we're day
Yeah.
traders, and oftentimes there are opportunities presented multiple days in a row. But to go, I would say 2 months straight of trading every single day could be considered a little bit unhealthy, or at least you're taking some setups that might not be the very very best. So time off to me is always a positive sign, and Jerome actually took a considerable amount of it. So tells me he probably doesn't need the money, which is another reason, contributing factor to success in trading. There's always that paradox: if you need the money in trading, you're probably not going to make it. And also being able to recognize I'm not seeing the market clearly. I hit my daily loss limit. It's time to move to the micros until I can get back on track, until I can put a winning streak together that's meaningful, and get back into the mix. So um, that is trading for tomorrow, in my estimation. And that's what we preach over and over again on this show. And we'll continue to. So Jerome is doing that. Jerome is trading profitably over time, 29 trading days completed, not a small sample size, and so we're loving really everything that we've seen from Jerome. So another account that we're calling up, and it's a 50K, which is the darling of the three account sizes in my mind, mainly because of that $1,000 daily loss limit. Losing $1,000 in a trading day is still a considerable amount, but given the position sizing and some of the other factors, you still have a significant amount of upside. Um, Even with the 50K account. So love the 50K traders. Love seeing the risk management, taking time away from trading, trading the micros to get back on track. Lots of good stuff. Anything else I might have missed
Yeah.
or got to you?
Just something that jumps out at me of um, it is not the reason that I like certain cards or that we talk about people that are doing well, but one thing that I see that's pretty consistent among people that this stat isn't on the card, but if you look at a card you like, um, in the chat too, it tends to have this is there's a good mix of P&Ls for the losing days. And what I mean by that, we joke about the club DLL and some people make it work. I get it. We see a lot of cards, we often bring it up where it's like 3K down 9 times, 50K up, 3K down 8 times, 30K up, something like, to each their own. You're all big boys and girls, you can do it. But on this, there's $1,000 daily loss limit, but sprinkled into that on the losing days are a lot of like a $500 loss. Or even like what's really impressive to me is there was like a $700 loss. And I think that there are a lot of folks, not saying I wouldn't, that once they hit say 7,000 or $700 down with $1,000 limit, they're using that last 300 bucks,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. The trading I've seen that like every loser you take should not be your daily loss limit in the vast majority of situations. So if you lose a couple hundred, that's okay. That's a good loss, you
Yeah.
know? So
Totally
yeah,
agree.
great stuff.
That's
This
one
is
of my
Waco.
yeah, out of Waco. That's one of my favorite parts of this job is being able to read between the lines. Looking at patterns of behavior, and just like you're saying, Jack. At one point they were down 700. I would definitely say the majority of the traders in our program are going to continue to trade and use that loss. It takes discipline. It takes a lot of confidence and sense of self to say, this isn't it. I don't need to put on one more losing trade. Today's not my day. I'm out of here. So there's a lot of things to take away. I love this segment. I love being able to share this stuff with our traders, and hopefully, you can take something away from it positive and implement it into your own trading, and get funded, take a payout, and improve your life with some money from trading. So, yeah, good stuff. And that's all I got for today.
Great. Ben, thank you so much for joining. Glad we got to talk about some Texas traders and what have you. Everybody else out there, stick around because coming up next, we got group coaching with JD and Hogue. And then at 1, The True Crew is here with Andre and Gabe. Always a pleasure to see them. And then we got Max Maserati, the happiest man in trading. Perhaps the world is on for Power Hour today. Ben, thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack.
All right. We'll be back right after this. Stick around for group coaching.